What's up, y'all? Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to break down a beat that I made. A few notes real quick, though. I've been playing instruments, guitar and piano, for 20 years now, but I'm not great at making beats. So the purpose of this channel is I wanted to document my progress as I try to get better. Hopefully we can all learn a few things along the way. Anyway, here's the beat that I made. Let's see what it sounds like. Turn it on first. Oops. All right. So to start, let's just take a look at the chords I played. So I did this in the key of C major, or A minor, if you want to call it that instead. See if I can make it skinnier. Maybe not. And the chords are kind of weird slash cool, however you want to describe it. This first one, see if I do this right. Oops. There we go. And what I'm doing right now is I'm holding down Alt. I believe if you have a Windows computer, it's Option, and then right-clicking with the mouse. And then it'll play the chord out loud. So this first one is just a C major 7 chord with an, actually no, I'm sorry. It's a D minor 7 chord with a 9 on top. D minor 7, 9. 9 is the 9th note in the scale, or you could think of it as the second note because there's 8 notes. Note 1 and note 8 are the same note with an octave difference. I won't get into the weeds of why that is or too many details there, but note 1 or note 8 is D in this case for the chord, and then the 9th is the next note after, which is E up here. So this is the root note of the chord, D. This is the 1 or the 8 if you want to think of it that way, and then 9 is the next note up. So D minor 7 with a 9. Whoops. And then A minor 7 also with a 9, but in this case, the 9 is going to be 1 above A. The root of this second chord is A, so the next note up is going to be B, like A, B, C. So there's the 9 right here. And then we have F major 7, again with a 9. I think I put a 9 on all these. And then C major 7, 9. And then we go F major. And then E7. Actually did 5 and sharp 5. Give it a little dissonance. Five might actually be a flat 6. E7, flat 6. Cut out there for a sec. Got some weird tonic shit going on. And then it resolves. So it's funny, the key is C major, but we're starting on D minor. We're starting with the second note in the scale and making a chord off that. So it's a bit modal. Here's what the keys sound like. So this is what I started with for the melody, per se. Just a basic electric piano sound. I used Keyscape. And I like the chords a lot, so I layered them with this pad. I just copied and pasted the MIDI. And then found this nice sound in Omnisphere. One thing I like to do when I use Omnisphere, because a lot of the patches have crazy effects on them, is you can tweak the sounds a little bit. So this one sounds like this. But when I take my fingers off, it still resonates a little bit after. It's called release. So you can go into the patches that make up the sounds and turn the release down a little bit under amp. So release is turned down right here. And that kind of made it, it didn't bleed as much into the next chord, so it didn't sound as messy. Just kind of cleaned it up a little bit doing that. So the two together sound like this. Kind of nice. Then I added this bass. This is a Reese bass. So Reese basses are kind of cool. They're designed to be very wide. Normally when you use an 808 or some sort of sub or bass, you want it to be centered in the mix, so that way it's not just panned out separately to the two ears. It's more focused in the middle. But this bass is specifically designed to be a bit wider. I think for this I use Serum. Let's open this up. Yeah. Here's what I did. I just had 6 voices in unison. Get the detune up a little bit. It's around 0.19-ish. You can see from up here. I'm gonna move this around. Played around with these knobs a little bit, but I've got this nice sounding thing. Didn't even turn the sub on or anything. Did a low pass filter up here too. Just kind of sounds nice. Cool tone there, Reese bass. I'm sure you can find a video on how to make a good Reese bass on YouTube, so I won't get into the weeds with that. And for drums, again, what I always do is I do everything under one pattern, and then I split them up. So there's an option over here if you right-click, split by channel. So if you do a bunch of different, like drums, for example, all in one pattern, and you want to split them up later, you can just click on this right here, split by channel. That allows you to just drag them all out separately. If you look vertically, we got the yellow, the orange, dark orange, red. Split those all up. Kick, what do we got? So we'll start it where the kick is. Move this up a little bit. See if I can keep up with that a little better. There's the kick, snare. I think I kept that pretty basic. Yeah. Except right here, I added one in between. Just right there, it mixed better with the percussion that was going to. Added this percussion. Kind of gave it a little bounce. I know I liked it. And the hi-hats. And actually, hi-hats usually default to C, but I thought they sounded a little bit better on D. Just moved them all up right here. These were pretty basic too. I didn't really change much on them, except here at the ends. Got this little roll going. See if I can move this, right? This is on pan. But when I do a roll, typically knock the velocity down too. So as it goes down along the roll, the the velocities go down, so it gets softer as it continues to go on. And then the other thing I did with the hats is I randomized the panning. So I just looked at, went to pan down here. So is it going to the right ear or the left ear? A little bit of both. How far on that spectrum are we going with each note? And you could do that manually yourself. But with hi-hats, a lot of the time we'll just randomize it. Saves time. So you go to our tools, randomize. Gives you some options. I'm not going to do any of that again, though. And then lastly, I found this little hi-hat loop from Cymatics. Add a little flavor. Wanted to make sure it wasn't too loud, but you can kind of hear it in the background or really feel it more than you can hear it. So it kind of goes nice with these hi-hats that I did were so basic. Adding this gave it a little bit of oomph, you know. And then mixing wise, I added this vinyl noise. You don't even notice it really if we go to the beginning. Maybe a little bit right here. Just kind of gives it that nice vinyl sounds. You can also do that with RC20 or these other plugins that exist. But yeah, I turned it way down, compressed a little bit with the in and out knobs. Mixing. Let's see what happens. Okay, so take out the low ends. This is something you really want to do. Things get very, very muddy in the lower frequencies. Even in the low mid frequencies, too, they can get kind of muddy. So you only want certain things to be taking up space over here, and really only one or two things taking up space down here at a time, that is. So keys, I just EQ'd like this. Played around with this, thought it sounded good. Let these take up space right here. If anybody puts vocals in, the vocals can sit higher up in the mix like this. So I might give it a high shelf, bump those up like that. For vocals, that is. For this, I wanted to bring it down and leave a little bit of room. See the pad, I did that a little bit here. So I give it a little bit of a high shelf, let the pad, because it had all these sparkly things going on in it. I let that take up more of the treble frequencies, but I still cut out all of the sub, a lot of the bass frequencies with the pad too. Reese bass, I didn't EQ this at all. Didn't really feel the need to. I did sidechain it with a kick drum though. So I just routed the kick drum here. Do that like this, see? Routed the kick drum, turn the volume all the way down. That allows you to put this compressor up, select the kick, then every time the kick hits, the Reese bass will compress down. So if we go somewhere with a kick, like right here, every time the kick hits, it ducks the volume of the bass down. So that way, the kick, while it's hitting, is the one taking up those sub-frequencies, and the bass is too quiet to really get in the way. So even though it's only momentary, it still helps keep everything pretty clean. Just like that. And then because the bass is wide in this one, I went with a Reese bass. I made sure the kick and the snare were centered. Usually samples will come centered already. I just didn't want to take any chances, just really make sure they were as mono-centered as possible. So that can be done by playing with this knob right here. If you look up here in the top left, see 100% merged into the center, that is. EQ, sometimes with kicks, I'll take down some of these low-mid frequencies right around 500 hertz and then boost around it, particularly in the lower part. Highs, took that down a little bit, just went with the ear that sounded good at the time. Snare, I just took out the low ends, just basic housekeeping here with the mix. Percussion, yeah, I did the same. Tweak these a little bit, try to make it sound good. Hi-hats, made sure that they were really only up here in the mid, treble, up in this range. And then compress the hi-hats a little bit too. Yeah, I just don't want to get those to be too peaky. Here's that loop, didn't really do anything. But I routed all these to the drum bus. So you'll notice this channel is going to the master. And all of the drum sounds are going to this channel. So I just removed these from the master and put them here. So that way they all have to route through this drum bus channel first and then go to the master. So that let me turn the drums up as a whole a little bit. And then I did this compressor trick that kind of helps glue them all together. So I turned the ratio all the way up, played through the threshold, turned the attack up a little bit, but kept it pretty fast. And then I gain matched. So what I did was I turned this halfway down, because when you're compressing, that actually makes it a little bit quieter. So I turned the gain up on the plugin, so that way I could compensate for any volume loss that was a result of compressing them from all these buttons, and still get the effect of compression to make them all sound a bit more glued together. So together the drums sound like this. So a little bit more like they're all from the same kit. Then the vinyl noise here. Probably didn't even need to route this in, but just did it out of habit. Again, made sure this was super, super low. Didn't do any mastering. Didn't throw anything on here. Leave plenty of room for that. But you'll see it's peaking right here, right around 6. So it stays in the green, maybe gets into the yellow a little bit, and that's kind of where you want it. You don't want it getting all the way up here to 0 or close to 0, because then when you bounce it out or export it as a WAV or MP3 file, it'll get all clippy and it won't sound good. And that's what we did. So if you made it this far to the end, thanks for watching. If you have any requests or anything you want to see, let me know, and I will see you next time.